Look at that. Hey, Tracy.
Hi. All right, let's see.
Hey, whoa. What's going on?
Hey, not much. Just excited to talk to you today.
Most
I'm
definitely.
excited as well. Let me I can't believe I got on at uh 6 my time.
Oh, six.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
6
early.
or 6:30 or something like that. And I'm like, all right, I'm ready. I'm ready. And I'm trying to like log in and
Oh,
uh
I was like, okay, 8 our time, so we must be 2 hours different.
yeah, I thought, originally I thought that you guys were gonna be a little I thought your time was ahead of mine at first.
Oh,
So whenever, we set the meeting up, I was like, okay, she's in front of me. But I never look, I'm always bad with time.
me too.
So yeah, I'm terrible. I just texted someone, one of my friends, and she's like, good luck tonight. And then I was like, oh yeah, well, you know me. I was a little early. I always get the time wrong. But anyways.
It's all
Yeah,
good.
we are here.
All right, let me fix my audio. I'm trying to get the sound to come through on my AirPods. That way I
Okay.
can hear you guys better. Um, let's see. Are you guys nervous or kind of excited or butterflies? I got some butterflies.
Excited, little
Yeah,
little
of course.
butterflies.
All right, let's get. uh, Oh, speaker. Yeah. So my mic's working. AirPods. Okay, I can hear you guys through my AirPods now.
Awesome.
Okay. Let me get also let me send a payment. I saw something on your website. You have a Venmo on there, right?
I
That
do.
I can okay, let me do that first.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. So tracymoon.com. This is exciting. Oh, it's Cash App. Do you have Venmo or is it Cash App? Only.
There's
Oh, there
both.
we go. There we go. I see it. So glad you have a Venmo too. It makes things a lot easier.
Mm-hmm.
There it is.
It really does.
Sure does.
Options. I really like this day and age. We got the internet, different ways
I
of
know, right?
communicating and seeing each other and
Same.
Mm. Well, and this is uh I can't first of all, well, let me I can't see anything. Okay, so who's what is your boyfriend's name?
this is Ace.
Ace. Hey Ace. Sorry I didn't say anything earlier. So Tracy actually I thought you guys were gonna be in Louisiana, so I called and I'm like, okay, well, that's right down the street. And then she's like, hey, we can just Zoom. And I'm like, I don't know about that, but then I did some stuff on YouTube. I looked up how you can merge Zoom with OBS on my laptop, and you can actually get a pretty good. Like this is excellent. Like so now I can have like my screen, which this isn't the one that's recording. It's going to
Yeah.
be the one right here. And I can have you guys on the other side too. So it kind of side by side, like we are having a real conversation, but you know, yeah. Uh,
That's cool.
so Tracy, it says the last four of your phone are 7155. Uh, Tracy is asking for the last four of your, well, I guess I can pay without confirming,
It's
but
484. Oh,
that's
it's
you, right?
yeah, but it's another number. It's
Okay.
um 4784.
4784. Yep, that worked. Just let me know that if you got that. All right. And while you do that, I'm just gonna um get you guys on my screen over here.
And that's Venmo, right?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Sure enough. From Rob.
Oh yeah. So did that work?
It did. Perfect.
All right, I got one more thing to set up over here, and I'm just trying to remember how that guy on YouTube said how to do it. Oh, how was the festival?
It was pretty good. It was interesting, huh?
Yeah, it was pretty fun. It was okay. It was all right.
What kind of music was it, or like what kind of music do you guys listen to?
Well, that
You know what
music
kind of
was
music.
probably like bluegrass, sort of
Oh, yeah, like folk.
folk music, I
Something
would
like
say.
that, yeah.
Yeah.
It was something like that.
Oh, it wasn't what you guys were expecting. It doesn't sound like you had too much fun, but
It wasn't as fun as it was last
Yeah,
year, but
last year was way more fun.
it was still pretty okay.
what is the name of the festival?
Dark Sky.
Yep.
Okay. Um, cool.
Yeah.
Okay, almost have you guys in here. Almost. Okay, I think that's okay. I think that's good.
Okay.
Yeah, so I was just trying to like set us up side by side on my OBS platform, just so because I have you guys on this side and then me on this side, and then underneath it says the Bible University and my logo and stuff like that. So I just want to make sure all of that was good, because once we record, it's set in stone, and and I can't go back and change it. So
Definitely.
okay, so let me hit record. All right, so we're recording now.
Okay.
So anything you say will be held against you. No, I'm joking. Um, but yeah, so very nice to meet you guys. So we have Traci Moon and we have Ace, right? And they just got back from a music festival, and I just got back in from playing basketball with the neighborhood kids, and so this is just us getting to know each other. To be honest with you, I one of the things that I'm interested in, and I've been interested in, is understanding how people approach the Bible. Traci, you had mentioned that you know the Bible, and you like the Bible, right? And and one of the things that I I'm a little upset with, or I guess disappointed with, is how we can't talk. Like, I'm a Christian, um, but it seems like in our circles, in my circles, we're kind of told not to talk to other people who don't believe what we believe. And I totally disagree with that. I love talking to people who have other beliefs and who have different perspectives and a different way of looking at the world, and that have various careers and various skills and various experiences. And I just love talking to people who don't believe what I believe. That's how I learn. We don't have like a marketplace of ideas anymore, to where we can just expand our minds and gain as much knowledge as possible. And that's one thing that I set out to do every single time I talk to someone. So and I also like spooky things. So I'm just gonna, be honest about that. I'm fascinated with the spiritual realm. I don't like I just don't know if people talk about it anymore. Just especially Christians, especially my. I'll go ahead. You're gonna say something.
A lot of people talk about it. It's not, you know, mainstream spoke about. It's not spoke about in a lot of the masses' eyes, but in a lot of the underground, there is a lot of people speaking about it and their experiences with the occult and spirituality all together.
So when you say underground, so there's like a kind of like an what do you mean by underground? Let me just ask that.
I I mean by like, there's a hidden, set of people, studying these things that a lot of the, mainstream masses don't necessarily know about, or the knowledge that these people are speaking about, and it's on the internet, like, YouTube, Facebook, all over social media, but, it's just not being pushed on the forefront of, the media.
Hmm. Have what do these discussions look like underground? Is I guess, are they discussions? Are they, actual practices? Like, do you guys have you guys ever talked to or communicate with any demons or anything in anyone in the spiritual realm or anything in the spiritual realm?
Yeah.
Most
Oh, all
definitely.
the time. Because I
Yeah.
think like part of life is knowing that there's a cycle that we will eventually have to go through a physical death. Um, so I think we've both been through a lot of death. I had a sister die. He's had family members pass away as well.
Mhm.
And,
Yeah.
just back when I would say I was probably 23 at the time my sister died, and she came to me in several different ways. Which made me interested because I was like, oh, I know that's her. And I know she's coming through in my dreams. She came through in, like a mirror where I could see her reflection. Sometimes she would come in through other people and I'd be like, there she is. And then I'd be like, oh, that's not her. But it looked like her. It felt like her. Even living in another country. Being in that other place, it's like I also experienced her there. So it wasn't like
Where,
time.
where'd you live, if you don't mind me asking? Where else? You said a different country.
Oh yeah, in Nuremberg, Germany.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you were there and she came to you while you were in Germany?
Well, she had told me, I will sing to your children, because at the time I was 23. I didn't have children until I was 28, and then I think when I was 31, I had my second kid, and he was singing a little song, and I was like, "Is that a song?" Like he was actually singing notes, and I remembered, oh, she told me she would come to me and sing to my children. So I figured, this must be her coming through. It was just, so there's lots of different ways that, I mean, I experience the spirit world. As far as death, like when people die, I do believe that they do come back if we ask them to, because his mom passed away and we asked her to come to us within a frame, a window. I think it was within at least 5 days.
Mhm.
Um,
Of her passing away?
yeah.
So what does it feel like? Like you said your experience was your son was singing a song, and you also said that it, like, you could feel her, right? Like, is that the way that, how do I ask this? Is that the way that people experience the spiritual realm? And I say this when I say like people experience the spiritual realm, I I haven't had any experiences. And that's why I'm so curious, because I do want to know if people are in contact with that other world, like what is it like and what does it feel like? Is it an audible communication? Is it a presence? Is it, because I hear, like, as a Christian, I hear people say all the time, I feel the presence of the Holy Spirit. I feel the presence of Jesus. But if you're not a Christian, if you haven't felt the presence of the Holy Spirit, then what is the presence of a darker entity feel like? Or not even a darker entity, a dead entity, someone who passed away.
Well, I mean,
And if
people.
I'm misunderstanding this, like, I'm just speaking out of complete ignorance right now. I'm
Yeah,
just trying to understand.
ways I
And
think
there's many
everybody
different
feels.
ways that people feel and be in contact with the spiritual realm, you see, because we have all psychic abilities, and many people connect to their psychic abilities, depending on who they are. Some people may see spirits, some people may feel them, some people may feel the presence, some people may hear them, some people may smell them. And
Mm. Hmm.
especially those who practice, magic, the occult, and like us, there's many ways that we feel them and we feel the presence. It's like, you can feel,
Hmm.
the warmness, and you can feel this vibration and this essence, even encase your body. And sort of like, a dead spirit, that would feel like something
Well, I mean, I
you
felt
could
it.
touch on that.
I thought that when we were talking with his mom, we were just like, if you want to say anything or if you just want to make yourself available, because, she was a Christian and she kind of had at times conflict, with the spirit world and
Right.
knowing. And she would be like, yes, I get it. And then kind of be like, well, no, I'm going to go back to my safety net of what I know. But I think with her being free of the body, she could actually make appearances. So even though I didn't feel her at the one time, the cat saw her, and the cat was trying to tell me, that he was she was there to look at his things, because the cat kept like going to his things, and I'm like, what are you doing? I was like, oh, okay, so this is Ace's stuff. I was like, oh, she must be here. So I couldn't see, hear, feel nothing, but I knew through the cat that that was her getting in touch, because it acted like it was being pet. It was pointing to his things.
Hmm.
And oh, and then when we were at the restaurant, I had not told him that his mom died because the brother didn't want me to. So I said, all right, I'll let you do that, and we'll just let you eat first. And, because if you get really sad, you might not eat. Or so we were just eating. And you could say, it's like,
And so we were there, and when we were at the restaurant, I had got off work, and so I was eating, and I didn't know that my mom had passed away, and they didn't tell me. So, which was a good thing. So I'm eating, and then next thing you know, I feel like this wave come rush over through my body, and what it felt like, I could only say was, "Damn!" It felt like a ghost just walked through
he
me.
said that.
I said it like at least
And I
three
was
times,
like,
and I
oh my
and
God,
I
like I want to
jumped so
say,
significantly. I jumped so
you
significantly
said it was
that she
cold.
saw it. She saw me jump to where it was
You
crazy.
said, oh, it feels so cold, like
Yeah,
a
like a
ghost has just
ghost
come into
walked
my body.
straight through
Yeah,
me.
and I was like, oh, because I couldn't tell him
I was
yet.
like, damn. That was,
And so I was like, I want to just say I knew this, but so there was a feeling, uh,
Yeah.
physical feeling,
I was
without even
full
knowing,
physical, like full force, like a
but
straight
it
up
wasn't sad,
unknown force just coming through you. That's
right?
not there. It ain't nothing physical. It's a spirit, bro.
So, like, kind
Hmm.
of knowing before, having that experience before the sadness or before the separation,
Right. Yeah,
that
and it
is
wasn't
more
sad. Right. True that.
like, you know, let me think. When my sister died, I also kind of had a feeling of unrest, and I just wasn't comfortable. And I just kept trying to find something that would make me comfortable. And then I thought, well, I'm just going to watch a movie, and I'm going to watch a movie. That'll make me settle down, because I was trying to study and I went to the garden, and nothing made me feel good. So I just thought, I'll just watch a movie. And the movie just happened to be something about, this farm girl living with chickens and a really cute boyfriend, and they're all barefoot, just kind of like she would have liked, I think, in her life.
Right.
And then my mom called and said that she died. And I was like, oh, that was her. She was coming to me. I just wasn't familiar with why was I uncomfortable, and what was it? Like it was like an unsettling, I think. And it
Yeah.
just, I tried, it was, some things came to mind, but it was just like, oh, I just didn't know what it was until that time. And then I was like, oh, so we know that there's a separation before there is one, because then they can just come to you. And,
Hmm.
so, but it wasn't scary. It didn't feel sad. It just kind of felt
And
like,
that's mostly, when it's a, relative. When they're dead,
mm,
it'll feel good and things like that. Now, say you summon, a dead entity, you know,
mm,
through other ways that's not of your relative, then that feeling may be different. And then
So, oh, go ahead, go ahead. Yeah, yeah, sorry.
they feel or experience different things from those spirits. It all depends.
Mm. So, so it's not always about summoning. Like you guys had mentioned, that you just know, like you can just feel it. You can feel a spirit, or just by even perception, like Traci was explaining, without feeling, you just know that that uh a dead spirit is talking to you or trying to reach out to you. So real quick, I'm going to come back to that though. I want to come back to what you were saying about summoning, because I think that's one of the things that I'm most interested about. Just what does that look like in practice? And how did you get into it? I do want to understand that. And maybe we should go there. Like, so how did you guys get into what you do? What do you do anyway? And maybe that's a good question. What do you do, and how did you get into it?
That's a huge question because that's a question. Well, I would just say that we are left hand path, eclectic, occultists, magicians, sorcerers, witches, wizards, and whatever you want to put that title up on. And then we practice magic, the
Mhm.
occult arts, the dark arts, and witchcraft, and many different types of magic. And how I got into it, I had an awakening, and I started studying a lot of different knowledge. I'm not going to go too deep on the awakening stuff, but
Hey, why not?
well,
Go deep on it. Go deep on it. I love to hear that.
long story. So I awakened through astral travel. Awakening through traveling out of the body, and that really opened my mind. And I started studying that astral travel, and then I it just opened up the doorway to the occult alone. I started studying the chakras, meditation, and many different cultures of knowledge and schools of thought.
Mhm.
And
When you say astral projection, oh, sorry, I cut you off. There's a little lag.
I
okay,
was gonna
ask the
say I
question.
did the same thing.
Go
I
ahead.
think it's because I was so visual
Right.
and I could leave my body very easy. Even as a child, I didn't even know what it was. There was
Right.
no definition for that. There was no books or internet when I was a kid. So,
Right.
I mean, I guess that's then I started feeling the colors, and the music notes associated with each of these frequency vibrations. So I did the same thing. But
Right.
it's because I think we're very visual.
We are.
Um,
Hmm.
and it makes it much easier, I think, for us as far as being able to sense the presence of what we want to summon, because you could summon anything. It's like I guess we could say, what, Lucifer come, and you just do a meditation, and then you can just feel this glorious presence, just peaceful, because yeah. And then what do you do with them when you call them? It's like, oh well, now it appeared, what do we do? So
So Lucifer has shown himself to you.
mhm.
Many different spirits and many different
I
beings.
mean, he came in, it was very like a glorious being, big, I would say, even maybe wings. I felt like he had some sort of just majestic presence, like he just appeared. No fear, just like, yes, is there anything what do you need from me? And then I was like, well, I don't know. I just wanted to see if he would come, and it was just every time very, very calm, very cool. He's very sweet, and just um, it's like a best friend that you would
So
call.
Yep.
r- right. Um so the Bible speaks of Lucifer as an enemy of God. Why do you think God in the Bible says that Satan is his enemy? Like, what is the relationship, from y'all's understanding, what is the relationship between Satan and God, or Satan and Jesus, or Satan and the other angels. Um, that's fascinating to me. Like what, like,
Well,
because I'll go ahead.
I would say, well, in I can speak in, the Christian terms and Christian sense. The relationship would be, Lucifer, believe that, in the black flame, which is the divine spark that is, within all beings, and he led, the angels also to believe that. And so they wanted to rebel against, the heavens and things like that, so they could be on their own and their own individual being, which is what the Luciferian spirit represents. Individual soul that, isn't, bound or, has to worship any god
Deity.
or being or man or woman or anything
Mhm,
Like
mhm.
it,
or
I
any
think
name
it
but the self, but to recognize that within the self. And that's what Lucifer represents a lot. And but um,
I mean, I
that's what
would
I could
say
say in the Christian sense. But I
maybe
also believe a lot
like the enemy
in
part is
another realm.
that we now know that, there's a big amount of self-awakening. I think that's where it's like, oh, I don't have to go through the priest to get to God. I am also divine. If I'm made in God's image, then I am also a reflection of that, and I have divine will. So I don't have to say what would God do or what
Mhm.
would Jesus do. How about what would I do?
Yeah.
And what's
And
best for
and
me?
basically what she's saying there is, is to
Free
go
will.
within, going within the self to find, that, that search of, spirit that everybody on the planet is looking for. Because everybody is looking for that, that outside reach, to grab onto, to understand, to have something besides this physical. And, it's
or
within us, and
or we
we are it, and we produce it, and we can reach it by accessing it through our power that they try to
like it's
tell us
not
to
outside of
practice.
us,
Mhm.
like we can make choices and we are not a victim. Even in victim circumstances, we chose that. So, we can play victim, but that doesn't mean that we are. So we created that situations. We're manifestors, so we can create, and part of that, I would say, is creating and destroying. So in order to become, like the Christians say, carry your cross every day, right? Like, so we have to know what is it that we're doing that we don't like doing, that, maybe we're arguing, or maybe we're thinking a negative thought. We have to take responsibility and say, I'm not doing that. I need to look a little deeper into self and do the inner work so that I can transform into that person that is higher being, that I'm not going to repeat those same lower choices, that aren't good for me. So, when we go to the dark, that's where we're planting these seeds of who who are we, what is our purpose, what do we want to do, what is our internal truth. And our beliefs change all the time. So, what may be true today may not be true tomorrow, as far as like, oh, this is how relationships go, and this is how business goes, and this is how money goes, and this is relationships. When we get the knowledge of how to communicate better, or how to invest our money differently, these we're evolving. So in order to get from one point of view, we have to destroy the way that was. So, my parents always said, bury your money in a jar in the ground. Don't put it in the bank. Buy what you can for the best that you can for the money that you got, and never trust banks. But now, in these days, I really believe I have to have a bank account, and it's good to have credit card, and I'm still working
Or cryptocurrency.
through cryptocurrency. Yes, like it's always
You need a wallet. Everybody listening, get a crypto wallet, please.
so we evolve. We break down that yes, it's not all about just gold coins.
Right.
It,
Hmm.
now
Hmm.
bank, and then it's going to be in universal money, and we have to kind of evolve as we go. So we can't just get stuck. We have to create and destroy. And I think that's part of, being able to understand part of that inner black flame, that we have this right. We can command things to happen.
Right.
Hmm.
Exactly.
Hmm. So would you say that you just kind of going back to, to my question about, is there like what is the relationship between Satan and God? And Ace, I think you did a really good job of explaining that, by the way, and it's really clear. Um, do you is there an end goal
Well,
for, go ahead.
oh, go ahead. I'm sorry. Nah, you.
Well, so Ace, you understand the Christian perspective, right? The way you explained it was right. From what I understand you saying, um, so God sent Jesus into the world, and these are according to the scriptures, right? So this, you got to understand, like, this is my perspective. This is how I'm seeing
Yeah.
things. This is like, whenever I read the Bible, this is what it looks like the plan of redemption of mankind is, right? This is what the Bible says about that. And I just want to understand, like, so God has an end goal. He says that uh there's going to be hell, or there's hell, there's heaven. Jesus is the only way to get into heaven. Faith in Jesus. Um, and you look, you see movies like The Passion of the Christ, and you see, Satan as the one trying to stop Jesus from going to the cross, in that movie, right? And so, like, how true is that part about it? Like, is Satan trying to stop mankind from receiving Jesus? Like, is there a war between God and Satan? I guess that's what I'm trying to, nail down from the perspective of, from someone who has
Because
talked to Lucifer.
and God aren't necessarily fully against each other. It's not like a full on, battle. It's not like that. And Satan isn't trying to stop humanity from receiving Jesus. Also, he wanted to enlighten and awaken humanity to, the hidden knowledge, which is why he told them to eat from the tree of knowledge, which is what God told him not to do. But he told them to do it just so they could have knowledge of both good and evil, so they could be just as God themselves instead of being a pawn.
So that ties into what Tracy was saying. So, Tracy, you were saying that we need to be able to make our own decisions and trust ourselves, and with relationships and money and things like that. And so that goes back to the garden, is what you're saying. So, Ace, is that Lucifer was trying to get Adam and Eve to open their eyes and have self-realization.
Yeah, basically, exactly. That's the word.
Did Satan know what
Liberation.
God was doing? Like, did he know that uh
Yeah,
that that if that happened to them, that they would not have a relationship with God anymore? And that's like in a perfect kind of sense, because when you think of the Garden of Eden, it was a place of, a lush paradise, right? Where there's no sin, there's no need for forgiveness, because there is no sin, there's no tears, none of that. And, like, so it's not about, so Satan wasn't trying to, you're saying Satan wasn't trying to get, like, have sin enter the world. He didn't, or maybe he didn't know about that. I don't, this is what's confusing to me. The Bible doesn't talk about that part. And that's, just from your knowledge, like what do you have to, like, what is that? Like, what can you explain, just kind of like how you understand that?
me personally, I don't truthfully believe, the Christian, stories, but I have the knowledge on them because I was raised a Christian and things like that. And but I've studied many different other things, and
Mhm.
I would say that, nah, Satan in the story was only trying to liberate man and help man, not to destroy mankind. And, you know, as you can see, a lot of people in the name of God have destroyed mankind, but never in the name of
Uh,
Satan. And I know that's a reach, but
And I understand what you're saying by that. I understand what you're saying by that. You're saying you're thinking of like you're talking about like the Crusaders and all of like the Roman Catholic Church and there's a lot of history where Christians were killing other
aren't
people.
even in the school history books. Well, when I was in school, when I recently came upon this realization, this revelation was, when I was in school, I didn't learn about the Salem witch trials in the
Mm,
history books, but
mm,
I did learn about it later in life when I started studying and
mm.
learning the occult. I learned,
Interesting. That is a fascinating time period too.
yeah,
Like
Mm.
the Puritans. Yeah. Cotton Mather, Increase Mather.
pacts with the devil to necessarily practice the
Mm.
witchcraft they were practicing, which isn't true. Not necessarily.
Wait, say that last part again. You kind of cut in and out.
Well, I say they also said that they were making pacts with the devil, and that's why they burned them to the stake too. But that's not necessarily true. You know,
Hmm. What happened?
well, as you know, a lot of them were just practicing you know basic witchcraft, healing through folk remedies,
Herbs.
herbs, all that stuff, and you know, kitchen magic and different things. And there may have been some witches then who have had the ability to, cast a curse or hex, but
Mm-hmm.
that wasn't very common. A lot of those witches weren't doing that, and a lot
Mm-hmm.
of them weren't necessarily witches either. A lot of them were just accused,
They were just being accused of being
thrown to
witches.
the wolves by their own friendly neighbors, supposed to be
Hmm.
neighbors,
Yeah.
just accusing them, throw them to the wolves, basically.
Yeah, I think, yeah, I do remember reading about that. Like, there were a lot of false accusations
Yeah.
saying that some women were practicing witchcraft just because they didn't like them or
Yeah,
because they wanted something to happen to them. They didn't, like you had said. Yeah, that's true.
happened a lot.
Yeah. Mhm. Yeah. Yeah. So, what is it like? Why do people come um, to receive which like what do you even call it? Like, so when they come to you and they say, hey, I'm interested in what you do. I want this to happen. Do they say, hey, can you summon someone or can you call someone or um
I think they have that kind of knowledge. I think that they have an idea that like maybe a family member has cursed them or put a spell or a hex on them, and because
hmm,
they're having a hard time with either let's say the girlfriend wants to date the guy and his mother doesn't like her, that person can hex the girl and come in and create problems between this man and wife. And even though they're married, the mother still comes in, and so the daughter is going, I love this guy and I want to be with him, but the mother either is a witch or they feel like there's a hex on me, or how can we remove this or bind
hmm,
them. I mean, sometimes I don't think they even have the
Or
correct terminologies.
right, they don't even know like necessarily how to word it all the time. Or they'll come with many desires like, oh, can you help me, gain this money, or can you help me,
Have my
gain the
a
love, or
husband get my wife back. She's
many of them.
left and she's with a
That's
married
and that's a
man.
very common one. A lot of people go through that a lot, and they
hmm,
want to have their love back, which is a very
Yeah.
hard task through
hmm,
witchcraft. It's not like in the movies, which they think, oh, just let's go to a witch and it will work,
yeah.
casting a love spell. But in reality, it's not like it is in the movies.
I mean, I
There's
think
no love potion,
even
or is there a love potion?
No love
like
potion. It's no, you could just drink it and that person in love.
You can't lace anyone's drink and have them fall in love with you.
Now there is ways
Oh man.
to do that. There is ways you can do that,
we can
but it would have to
influence
be
that.
very potent, and it would have to be done over time too.
And the
Mm,
person, you can't just sit back and wait. It's like if the wife left for some reason, identify what that is, and maybe change something about yourself that you could be a little different. Like if there was some argument like you're not meeting my need, and you still want that person back and you're not changing, then it's not going to work still. So you can get the person back, but if you don't work on the self of what's going on, and be true to the self, because we can't change for other people. We can only change for us. And sometimes that leaving is what catapults us into wanting to have a change. So
So Tracy, what do you do when someone comes to you? Because it doesn't always happen, right? They'll come to you and they say, "Hey, I want this," and it may not happen immediately, right? Let's just say it takes a while for it to actually happen. What do they ever come back to you and say, "Hey, why didn't this work?"
Yeah, they do.
well, a girlfriend of mine did have that issue. I read the cards and I said, it's over. He's not coming back. They were still living together. And then I just didn't see it, and I kept telling her, no, I'm sorry, I don't see that. Um, and it's not what she wanted to hear, but it's what happened. And then we did some work. We actually did some different approaches, like a freezer spell, because he was going to another woman and she wanted to freeze that up and not let that happen. Like freeze that relationship and make it cold.
Mm-hmm.
Also, a love spell that would
Well,
remind.
did it actually happen? Like, did the freeze work?
It did. Well, he ended up going to that girlfriend, and the girlfriend there called the the other one and was like, "I think we should be friends." So it didn't work out between those two, and it's over. And then now we did the love spell, and he did get back in touch with her. So she's happy about that. It's kind of like sometimes they need that bit of space, and if it's their will, we're just here to help their will. Stand, but like even in the Bible it says when two or more are combined, then his will be done. And that's just kind of like we are here to support you in what your desired outcome is. Because standing alone is hard, and finding people to be on board, or to involve family, is hard. Maybe sometimes they're not on board. They're like, we don't like that guy. So
And you
just
can't really do anything about that, right?
no.
Not too much.
Yeah,
So I
yeah.
mean, the love spells are hard, I would say, because they want it to be like Hollywood,
Mm-hmm.
and it's not.
Like instantaneous and without any effort. That's how they want it, which is not.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you have to do the
It's not
spell and forget
instantaneous
about
and it
it,
ain't
but it doesn't
effortless.
mean that you don't act on it,
Yeah.
because you have to have the feeling, the emotion behind it. Do you want
Because there's
this?
this
If you
one,
don't, then
we done a love spell for, and they don't want to even pursue the person at all. And
Mm-hmm.
if they would pursue, then the love spell would
It'll work.
coincide with their will and would work. Yes.
Hmm.
But by them
So,
sitting back
uh-huh.
and not taking action, it will not manifest in their reality, in their world.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So you still got to put in the work.
Do.
You can't just like it's not a snap of the finger kind of thing. And that's how we think, right? Like in our society, we want all of the easy answers to everything.
Yeah,
So it's the same thing with magic.
it is.
mhm.
Hmm.
Some of it comes easy.
Will
Yes, when you
it's
practice and when you put a
huh,
lot of time and
true.
study into it, some things do come easy, like meditation and some
Mm-hmm.
spells, some things,
Mm-hmm.
some manifestations. But
I mean, doing it
there's
yourself, I think that is the best, because
that's the
then
best route.
you know exactly what you want. Your will,
Mm-hmm.
desire, and belief is in alignment, and you go after it. That you
Mm-hmm.
speak it. The spoken word is very powerful. So you bring it into being with your spoken
Yep.
You
words.
mean like say what you want like verbally, and
Yes.
and it will eventually manifest itself if you work at it.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yep.
that's, I think, a lot of times why they say in the spells 3 times.
Mm-hmm.
Not just that. Sometimes it's even 9 times, or even
Yeah.
sometimes you have to repeat it, and that is very good because it instills that,
In your mind,
in your
you're
mind and
seeing
your
it
reality.
again and again.
Like confidence. Yeah. Yeah.
And it,
Okay.
and it has nothing but no, like what's the word? It has fuck, I'm looking for the word, but it's like it has no way but to
Oh,
manifest when it's like that. You know what I'm saying?
right.
Mhm. So Tracy, I'm curious about and I know you can't, I want, I want you to be careful with like disclosing whoever it is that the lady who came in and wanted the love spell. And I also want to know, like, is there such thing as a curse, right? So I want to come back to that too. But so whenever you read her cards, what does that process look like? So do you have a you know a deck of 30 cards, 52 cards with different characters on them, and what are the characters, like what do they mean, and
Okay.
how do you know, like how can you say, hey, this is going to happen, or this happened in the past.
Okay, so there's 78 cards in a deck, and there's 22 major arcana, which is the tree of life or the path of the fool. So we start at, the zero and end at so those are the major cards. The 0 to 22 are the major cards. It's about everything that we as a human would go through, like a new beginning, being a kid and moving out of the house and going on a journey, and we don't know where we're going to go, but we're excited, and we might even have a little dog to go with us. And it just goes through each of them. So like the magician, and having all of the tools, and commanding the elements, fire, earth, air, water, and spirit into being, like, what do we want? And the
So
high.
Tracy, excuse me, sorry. So the range is from, you said, a fool to a magician. So is the fool, like, is it a jester? Is That's kind of what I have in my mind for whatever reason. Is it a jester and goes to a magician? Is that right?
A
A
new
jester, a
beginning,
joker,
um
Joker. Okay.
a
but
new beginning.
in the tarot, he's more, he's a fool,
It's
and
the one he used to be at the end of the 22 or at the beginning. So it's because he's zero.
Mm-hmm.
Like when we die and we're rebirthed, we do it all again. And that
Mm-hmm.
goes all day long. So we might die to something today and then we're rebirthed into something new. So it's
Mm-hmm.
like a journey, a inward journey. It's always our journey. And the
Mm-hmm.
tree of life, you can take any path. There's no given path of, like, you've got to go from 1, 2, 3, 5. It's how you grow. Some things for me are easy,
true
but
that.
some things for you aren't.
Right.
And so I'm like, but how can you not go from here to there?
True
This is
that.
easy. So it's just like we're all on the path, and we will go through every single one of those um, life challenges. And those
Mm-hmm.
are the 22, which is the beginning, the major arcana. Then we get to the minor arcana of 1 to 10 in all of the different suits.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, so the way I do it, and the way I think it works perfect for me, and I don't need any other way to lay these cards out. I use the Celtic cross or Celtic cross, however I say it. Celtic cross, but I lay all 10 cards out, and in that process, I see what's going on now. I see the past. I see the distant future, and
Do
then
y'all do this together, or is this just, you guys do it separately, or what does this look like? Are both of y'all there?
Practice rituals together, but she's more of the tarot master. She practices the tarot, and she does more of that. I practice it, a little bit. I have my own deck, and I do it here and there, but I don't do it as, hard like that. But we
Mm-hmm.
mostly practice rituals and spells and
on the
meditations and
spiritual,
things like that together.
more
Yeah.
helping on different, but I
So y'all
use
stay in y'all's own lane, basically.
Wait, what you said?
So y'all do y'all's own thing. Y'all have y'all's own specialties, but y'all also come together to do
Right.
spells and things like that. Okay.
We do, we do, we
mhm.
do.
Interesting. Okay. So Tracy, sorry. So you lay out all 10 cards.
Nation, coming together, and it works
Yeah.
very, smoothly and perfectly for us.
Hmm. I mean, the Celtic Cross is the one. You don't need a one card draw. That's just boring for me, and I don't ever do them. I'll do it if I have to, but I'm like, that doesn't tell me anything. So, in order for me to bond with the client, I look at the past cards because you know your past. So, I can say, in this foundational question that you have, this happened. And I know that you felt this way about it, and this thing just happened. And you're like, yes, yes. And I can look at what you're feeling, thinking, desiring, and say, I know this is what you're wishing to happen, but this is what's going on right now. And this is what's going on in the environment. So let's say you're at work, and at work, I find the moon card there. Then there's something going on with like gossip, and maybe she or he doesn't know what's going on in the environment, but I can say, oh, I see the moon card in the environment, so there's some gossip going on. And then then we'll see what is happening in the what's going to happen right after, like maybe tomorrow or later tonight or tomorrow, the next couple days. And then I can see what's going to happen in the long run. um and then I have a method. I just have a method of like pulling a few more cards on top of that to see who's gossiping and what is this
So you
about.
can know specifically who that person is.
Yeah, very
Uh and you don't know, but you don't know the person,
never.
but whoever comes to you knows who that person is.
Yes.
And do they ever come back and say, yep, you're right, it was
Time.
wow.
Yeah, I quit second guessing myself, because I want, they're like, I want my boyfriend back. Is he coming back? He's coming
Mhm.
back, right? And I'm like, no, he's not. Or court proceedings, they'll be like, is he getting out of jail or am I getting out? No, but we can see what if you were to say something to the judge, what would the judge take into consideration for your benefit? So if you
Mhm.
say this, it's a no. If you say this, it's a possibility.
Mm.
So say that, don't address those things that judge doesn't want to hear, doesn't like that, but if you stick to it. I've there was another couple of girls in Louisiana that were moving to Colorado or got a job in Colorado, but she got caught smoking pot and had a dirty UA and was upset that because she was going to have to go to court. And she was like, I smoked and I'm not getting, now I'm not going to be able to move. And I said, well, let's just take a look here. If you say this to the judge, I got the job. I thought it was my last day, but it's already secured. My house is coming through, because they had it all lined up. If you say that, then you'll be able to leave Louisiana. But if you don't, because you'll get a probation officer in Colorado, and then you can finish it here and take clean UAs, get those clean ones. But if you say that, they'll let you go. But if not, then you'll be stuck. And
Mhm.
she said it just the way, and she was able to move here. So, they do call back, and it happens all the time.
Have you ever had to give a refund?
No.
So okay, wow. Wow. Yeah, because well, the reason I'm asking is because I think the note there's a there's a belief that um that you don't really know what's gonna happen, and so people will come back to you and say, hey, it didn't work, where's my money? And I'm just curious to see if anybody has ever come back and say, hey, I want my money back. And
Yeah.
but it sounds it
Yeah.
sounds like it's like you're spot on. Like it, there people are seeing exactly what you're predicting and what you've seen in the past and things like that.
Yeah.
And the future, all we have is now.
Yeah.
So, these cards, the way it is if you continue to go down the path the way that you are right now, this is the outcome. And if
Mm.
you have the knowledge and the power to know that, then we can change that outcome.
Mm-hmm.
So, so with her smoking the pot, she could have very well just been stuck in Louisiana and not been able to leave.
Mm-hmm.
But since she asked me, we were able to find what the judge would be happy with and therefore change the circumstance or even the relationship.
So has anyone ever come in and said, "Hey, I want this person to be cursed"? Like, do you participate in that? Do you ever um cast any spells on someone for something bad to happen to them because someone else asked you to do that?
Uh,
Nobody's really
um,
called me for that.
I've had a couple people who've come to me because they'll say, "Oh, this person he's a rapist and he's a child or something like that." I've had a couple
Mm-hmm.
of those, and they wanted me to partake in that. And
Mm-hmm.
um, I'd say, yeah, for that, yeah, we would partake in such, cursing or hexing, and for a justified, enemy like that, now,
Mm-hmm.
if it's just for, a petty reason, this person is,
Yeah.
just battling with this person, they got some bullshit beef going on. No,
Mm-hmm. No,
It's
yeah,
not our
yeah.
us
skill.
magicians and the cults won't always get involved. No.
So what are the different roles in the occult? So I had a when I was in the military, I had a troop who practiced Wicca, and he would tell me, some things. I didn't ask too much. I wasn't interested at the time. I wasn't reading the Bible. I wasn't spiritual at all. So I just wasn't interested in hearing anything about it. But I thought it was fascinating that he was practicing something that nobody else was practicing. And like he would sharpen his nails and uh what was that?
Said Wicca, right?
Wicca, yes, yeah, yeah. He said he was Wiccan. And the only thing that I understand is that there are witches and warlocks. Is it warlocks? Is that right?
Yeah.
Um, and but sadly he passed away. He actually took his own life. And he was one of my best troops, by the way. Great guy, just fun loving, just a cool guy. But I wish I would have asked him more questions. So he did mention that he's gone to the woods and has done rituals out there. And so, like, what does that world look like? That I'm so fascinated with that world. Like, are there different um like I don't know, like, are there different names to some of the roles in a religion? Is it a religion? Like, what, can you explain that a little bit?
Well,
Well,
I mean, there's
necessarily, it's not a religion. It's more of a openly spiritual occult practice, and it's a spiritual working practice. And when it comes to spells and rituals, and magic and things like that through witchcraft, it looks, a lot with, using the mind and using meditation and using the powers around and within the energies of all around of the universe, to cast an intention, forth into the physical world to manifest or into the spiritual world to manifest a certain thing, because there are many different rituals, spells, and rites and, different things one could do.
I was gonna
So, oh, go ahead, Tracy.
there's a little bit of a difference between what I think it looked like for me when I was on the right hand path doing like rituals versus now. So part of that is I would make an altar and it would be a monthly altar. I would follow the moon cycle and also a bit of astrology. So I'd say, oh, so the moon is going to be full, or let's say the moon's going to be new moon, and I'm planting my intention like a seed in the dark. And I'm going to put little things on there about what my intention is. So maybe it would be music, or I'm going to make a song, and I want to, you know, what does that look like? And just put like these little figures on there, like a little instrument on the altar. So I'm like, aha, my song is going to be here. And, when the full moon came, I would see what was it that I did that I was able to get my goal at the end of the cycle, and did I make my song? And so we take what works and use that, and then what didn't work we burn and get rid of, and or give back and say, okay, let's plant again. So I used different things like that with the gemstones and some herbs and little things that represent something that I want to manifest. Which is still a little bit like what I do now, only before I would give it to the universe to manifest for me outside of me, that something take this and make it for me, please.
And that's the thing about, being eclectic. It's just about learning different knowledge. And as you learn different knowledge, your practice grows and you incorporate different and new things. And, that's basically what she's saying, and, I'm the same way, back when I first started, practicing magic and witchcraft, it's not the exact same way as we do now. And the methods, and because one example, there's the lesser banishing ritual of the pentagram, which is, and that's, on the right hand path side of the occult, which is what Wiccans practice. And that's a banishing ritual used to banish out all harmful spirits, negative energy, harmful energy, all that stuff. And it's to clear your space, your house, whatever room or however you set it. And then, but now, we don't necessarily use that one. We use the lesser banishing ritual of the inverted pentagram of the infernal names, which is, a part of, and that's just an example of how
It just is
how
a
the
little
practice changes, and even
and you
the doing
incorporate what
of that
works.
ritual isn't the same way as the old one is.
I mean, yeah, it's just
And that's also with a lot of things, because you'll read that a lot in the occult. They'll tell you the old ways, and a lot of witchcraft practice, they'll call it the old way or the old religion or the old path. And they'll tell you how, things change throughout time, and, people don't, always use the same methods,
So
throughout.
so it evolves, basically. It changes with time, over time. Yeah. Like the kinds of instruments you use, the kinds of spells that you use. And yeah, I mean, just like any religion is, it changes with the time, right? What about exorcisms? Like, has anyone ever come to you and said, hey, I think I have something in me and I need help?
yeah.
Well, matter of fact, recently she had an experience with a person who came to her, and they are saying, they have a spirit, they feel they have this demonic entity attached to them, or this negative
For
entity.
a long time.
And but it's not necessarily exactly like an exorcism, like a person
Mhm.
undergoing a
Mhm.
possession, like, something
Is
is
it is a spirit actually attached to the person, or is it or are they just like in a
do the work, and we haven't been able to sit down with the person and actually delve in to see.
But I mean,
Mhm.
on my own personal level, I was going to church in Oklahoma, and a really great church, I thought, and it was very fun. Uh, but I had issues, like I think a lot of probably Christians do. I would go to a grocery store and be like, "Where's the peanut butter?" They moved it around. Somebody would be there. This man, I'm like, "Where's the peanut butter?" They keep moving the peanut butter. And then all of a sudden, his energy was like attached and stalking me through the store. And I was like, oh God, I better get away. So I go around and he's following me around. I've got my kids with me and I'm like, oh my God, this is scary. But it wasn't just that incident. I've had that same type of energy where people would stalk me regularly, and I don't know these people. So I'm just like, ooh, why are they following me? Like, what is it in me that they're seeing through my eyes or something to follow me?
Right.
And so with my Christian knowledge and not the knowledge I have now, I went to the church and was like, "Hey, pastor, would you help me? I think I have a demon in me that is attracting negative."
So you thought that the entity was inside of you instead of attached to, or is that the same thing? Is in you and attached the same
I think it's
thing?
The same.
I mean,
Okay, I got you. I just want to make sure I'm tracking.
right. Um,
But I
so
mean, you can allow a spirit to reside within you, but it doesn't necessarily mean it's attached to you. Because
Okay.
could be
but
in the
but
energy
that's when you
field.
allow consciously allow a spirit to and be inside of your body.
And I'm
Hmm.
not sure, even as a kid, if we know it's consciously, it's like we
And I'll
allow.
have to say I have to add to that because I had a similar experience. She feel like that, and when I was a kid, I was a real young kid. I'm 21, and
Hmm.
I would say I was about maybe, yeah, I was around 12 years old, and we had to move from Lake Charles, Louisiana to DeRidder. And so we went there to live with my aunt. And, we had this bad experience over there living there, make a long story short. And I felt these spirits there, and they were speaking to me as a kid, and they were wanting me to kill her. And they would her my room was all the way at the end of this hallway in the house, which is at the back of the house. My mother's room and my little brother slept in there with my mother at the front end, and her room was right in the middle. And you could shut the door, and this hallway would be completely black at night, and there's no light. And my little brother would not sleep in the room that I slept in because he was afraid, and he felt some forces there. And he just couldn't sleep in there. He was terrified. He didn't want to sleep. He slept in the other room with my mom, but I did. And I would be like up throughout the night, and I would be in that hallway in the darkness, and I would feel this spirit, like, in your ear, or within you, or somewhere, and speaking to me, wanting me to kill my aunt because she was a very vile and mean woman. She was very full of hatred, and I can understand why these spirits around her would
Hmm.
want such desire because she was so evil. Her spirit was so nasty. And that
Hmm.
was my family member. That was a family member of mine. And I experienced that. So,
Hmm.
and that's to add on to her story and
Um,
how she felt those demons,
but that was
spirits
a
within her.
lifelong thing for, like years. And I went,
So Ace, sorry, Tracy. Sorry, Tracy. Ace, so
Uh,
do you like how much of an impact did that experience have on you? Was that kind of like a catalyst for you to dive deeper into the occult? Um,
At that
you
time,
know,
I was still very, I was Christian, and I wasn't, into the occult at that time yet. And what it did for me then, it just because I didn't get into the occult 2 years later, a couple years later, after I
mm,
was 12, maybe when I was like, 15, 16, I
mm.
gained that knowledge and opened my eye. But at that time, no,
Well,
I
I
was
was young.
time,
You
and
said
I
you were 15 or 16 years old when you first got into the occult?
yes, when I
Wow.
first,
And you're 21 now, so that's
yeah,
wow, man. Okay.
definitely.
yeah. So I did go to the church, and I went and told them, "Hey, I think I have a demon in me, and can you get it out? Because I don't like stalkers, and this happened to me." And they said,
Right.
"Oh, well, I think you could just talk to the counselor." So I would go talk to the counselor, but there was never anything ever. At most churches, and I went to many churches, they were like, "Sorry, that we don't do that, like we can pray for you, but or you can go to counseling." So many, many years, many. And then finally I went to Germany to
Hmm.
a different church, the Freie Gemeinde. And
Tracy, were you Catholic?
oh no, I'm a Christian. Or
Okay. Oh well. Yeah. Okay. Okay. So you ended up going to Germany? Because the reason I asked that is because I know the Catholic Church has designated exorcists there. And so yeah, okay. So yeah, so you weren't part of a Catholic church. This was a non-denominational church, probably, right?
oh, I went to a lot of them. My grandpa's a Methodist pastor. We've tried Unitarian, Universalist,
Hmm.
Assembly of God, Living Water. You name it, I've been to them. and
Mhm.
Baptist church, all kinds.
Have you ever seen, I know you, you know, I want to get back to your story about the point where you went back to Germany, or when you went to Germany. But when you say, when you said that, oh, I lost my train of thought. Wow. I thought it was a good question too. Anyways, it'll probably come back to me.
Yeah, I mean, I did go to these churches and none of them had anything for me, which is
Hmm.
fine. I mean, I just accepted it as that this is just how it is.
Oh, that's what I wanted to ask you. Did you see anyone speak in tongues or anything like that?
All the time.
Really?
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
So did you think that it was genuine?
Um,
Me personally,
yeah, I thought it was because I mean, my
no.
mother did it, her friends. We went to this little church, and I can't even remember the Maranatha, something Maranatha Church, and they have the the tambourines, and they're dancing in the aisles and praising and hi, and they're speaking in tongues, and I thought it was normal. I can speak in tongues because uh, it just came to me, So I guess because I was a product of the environment, I
Yeah.
also spoke in tongues, of course, and I've been pushed, out in the spirit too, and fall back and go out.
Mm-hmm.
The whole shebang. I've gone to like every type of church except for a couple times Catholic, but I think it was in Spanish, so I didn't really understand.
Right, right.
So when you went back to, or not back, why do I keep saying that? When you went to,
So I actually was there and then I went back. So when I
oh,
is true.
okay. So were they able to help you in Germany?
Okay, so the church itself was not, but I studied. I had a study partner, Cloud,
Mm-hmm.
and his wife became a good friend of mine. And one day, out of the blue, just out of the blue, she brings her mother to my apartment, and she's like, "I wanted to let you know this is my mother." And she and her mother had studied in Israel about how to cast demons out, and they saw these demons in me. I mean, this is out of the blue. I didn't talk to them about any of this. And the mother I've never met before. So they're just sitting there and they were like, all right. And I don't have curtains on my window. I just like moved into this apartment. Everybody can see in. And I was like, oh my God, this is weird. But they found me, after all this time. And they said, all right, now we're gonna look at you in the eyes and we're going to speak to the demons in you. And they said, what we need you to do is just move out of the way. I know you're here, but I'm not speaking to you. I'm speaking to the demon in you. And they're like, I command you to come up and out of her. You are not allowed in this body. And while the other lady is kind of like moving up and out, like up and out through the spine, all the way up and out. And she was in my face, and then I could feel me move to the side, and then she was speaking into the demon, commanding them up and out. This is a body that you are not allowed to stay in. You must come out. We are commanding that the three of us together do not want you
Oh.
here. She wants you up and out, up and out. And she was commanding. And at some point, I remember me coming back into focus, and my friend is looking at me, and she's like, Tracy, I need you to move to the side and get off to the side. I'm not talking to you. It's okay. I'm just commanding the spirit in you. So just move to the side so I can talk to him again. And I'm like, oh, okay. Because I got a little fear, like she's talking to me, and my consciousness brought me back into focus and was like, are you talking to me? Because like, and then I moved off to the side again, and then
Like physically, or your spirit moved over?
my eyes just moved over, like the consciousness, something moved over so she could talk in through my eyes to the demon. And they were flying out, like little ones, and
Hmm.
pretty easy. I would say there was probably five or so that were just in there. But there was one, and it was like kicking around and hitting my rib, and I was like, it's still in there. I was like, it's not coming out, and I was a little afraid about this because I was like, well, the other one's just up and out, like. But this one, I'm like, well, what do I do? Because they were done, and I'm like, well, don't leave me. I mean,
How
you're.
long ago was this? How long ago did this happen?
I just moved back to Germany in 2012. It was like 2015, maybe. Well, it was
Wow.
just recently. And I remember um, going, because I said, what do I do? They said, just keep praying and saying that you don't want that there. But I think I remember this one is that if it makes sense for me, I was at a Crestone music festival, and they were doing like which is the same festival that we were just at, but it was different energy back then in 2010. One lady had come to me and said, okay, just sit here on the chair, and I want you to imagine your the spinal cord or whatever, going down and wrapping around the earth like a tail on a like an iguana. That's kind of how I pictured it. And she goes, just bring that energy all the way down through you to the earth core and wrap it around so that it is down and stuck in there. And then she went around me in a circle and was stomping on the grounds. And I don't remember exactly all of it because I'm very visual. So I was very much out in the spirit world, picturing this thing. And I believe that could be the one. But I remember her saying that if anybody came around me, all I would have to do is stomp and yell, like, no. And it would send a ripple through the earth, and people would back away from me or like stay out of my energy zone. I kind of think it might be that one that's still there just because I remember grounding it so tight. But
You mean still inside of you right now?
probably. I mean, I didn't remember it ever coming out. I mean, it wasn't like we worked it all together to where it was completely gone. Not that I recognize it in there or anything like that. I think we all carry around our energies and things like that. But now,
Yeah.
with my newfound vision, knowledge of what a demon is, it's not what it is when I was a Christian. So,
Okay. Okay. Interesting. So what do you mean by that? So what is a demon? Just, just to clear the air, just to if you were getting rid of any kind of, or I guess destroying any kind of preconceived notions about what a demon is. If someone asked you, Tracy, what is a demon? What is it? What is a demon?
okay. Well, I mean, he explains it much better than me, but I would say that it's more of a Daimon, and that the demon was demonized by the church, and that daemons are more of like a deific mask or like a good energy. They're not malevolent, they're not mean, and they don't want to go after you, and they don't want to destroy you. They are a spirit without a body, so they're not divine. We are divine because we have a body and a spirit, and they want to be much like us. And so therefore, if we say, can you help me in a relationship? I really want these people to fall in love, or I want more love in my life. Would you help me? So this daemon is like a deific mask that we can put on and absorb this beautiful energy of love. And that would then attract more love to us. Am I explaining correctly?
Yeah. And also, it traces back to, what the word means, Damon means is a
Deimon, right?
yeah, either that or Daemon. Either way. Or you can say demon. It doesn't matter. But they made it and changed it into the word demon to, scare the masses and make it a, evil figure. But, a daemon in ancient times was a being filled with divine knowledge, and sort of like a helper of mankind. Those that would come and bring the light of the gods to mankind, those that were rebellious spirits, and that's what
I
a
kind of
daemon is.
think of it also like of like pure knowledge they have without the ego attached to it. So we have the body and the ego and we want something, but they
Mm,
don't need that, but they wish for a body, I would say. So they want the way that they can um uh, have that experience is to help us. So
mm,
if we say, come to me, we can either invoke them to us and say, show me how I can make my life more full of love, or we
mm,
can invoke them and say, just come into me and
mm,
show me what it feels like to be love or to love someone. And so there's a difference in that. But when that love comes in you, then you're able to feel it, sense it, taste it, do it. And then they've served the purpose and they don't reside there. Um,
mm,
so I think that's the difference for
mm,
me between what a scary demon was of being possessed or uh, um, versus now when I evoke Lucifer to come or Zephyr to come. These are lovely spirits that they work together and they want the best, and it does happen to be good. And so I would never uh, follow the Solomonic ways, of
Right,
making them stay or containing them in to control them. I think they're my friend. So
right.
if my friend is love, invite love to me, and you can stay as long as you want and go when you need to go. But I would never say you are contained and I'm controlling you and I'm going to make you my servant to do what I want. I'm not evil. So I would not expect that anybody would want to be told what to do and made to do something out of their own free will. But when they willingly come, well, I believe that's a really sweet thing. So that's the difference that I feel between my fear of being possessed versus my choice of allowing these
mm,
um,
Helpful
feelings.
spirits and energies, and also aspects of ourselves. A lot of spirits, that we work with and that are throughout mythology, represent, hidden aspects of our own psyche that we bring forth to, commune with and to learn knowledge
mm,
within us, because, all of the knowledge is within, but we don't know it all, while we're here in these physical bodies.
mm. So,
So,
and so just to follow up on what Tracy said, just to kind of, explain what I understood from it. The Christian idea of a demon is a malevolent spirit, right? But you're saying there's nothing malevolent about allowing a demon, Deimon, to fellowship with you because you allow it. It's not like you're trying to contain any, a demon. It's like a partnership, basically, is what you're saying. It's a loveliness to a demon. There's no you know there's nothing bad, like there's nothing harmful about a demon.
the thing with that is, they're not malevolent. They don't seek to bring the downfall of, mankind. They only seek to help the self-liberation and illumination of man, and so man can grow greater. That is the greater, you know, goal of magic and the practice of craft and all of this,
Hmm.
and working with these demons. They only
Mm-hmm,
wish us to greatness, not
mm-hmm,
down,
Yeah.
because they aren't down. They are great. You know,
hmm.
spirit.
Yeah. So we're past an hour. I don't want to take up too much of you guys' time. Although I still have a whole bunch of questions. I'll be honest with you. I mean, I wanted to, like, interrupt a little bit and ask like questions on the spot, but I didn't want to interrupt you guys from talking and keep, explaining your experiences, especially Traci. I know once you get into a rhythm, like you like to keep going and explaining, but you're really good at picking it back up too. And Ace, you have some really good stories, man. I can sit there and pick your brain about the knowledge that you have about the spiritual realm. I still have a lot more questions, so I love to do this again. If you guys are open to it. And yeah,
Definitely open
what's
for it.
that?
I say it was a great experience.
Okay.
Definitely open for it, brother.
Yeah.
Well, we got to do it again. We got to do it again. What are you guys' plans for the night? You guys heading to bed? Got a busy day, or you probably off tomorrow, right? It's Memorial Day.
Well, nah, I work tomorrow, and I was off this weekend, so yeah.
Okay. Okay. Oh man. Well, all right. Well, I'll talk to you guys later. Let me stop the recording. How about that? Because I feel like I'm still. I wish I can just like, not look at this recording symbol, so I can just like, have a normal conversation. I feel like we did, but
Oh yeah.
um, but I feel like, like I said, I have a lot more questions. So maybe we can do this again if you guys are cool with it. I'll love to do that. So, but yeah, I'll let you guys go. Because I'm just gonna keep rambling on if not. Um, but thank you again. And yeah, I'll put this out there. Are you guys cool with that?
Yeah,
If I put this on YouTube?
definitely. No problem at all.
Well, you guys did a really good job. I didn't like my, answering questions. I'm terrible at that. Or asking questions. I'm stumbling and stuff like that because I'm trying to figure out the best way to ask it.
You were pretty good though. You were
No,
good at the
yeah.
questions. That was some good.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I appreciate it. All right, you guys have a good night, okay? And Traci, I'll be in touch with you. And Ace, man, it was nice to meet you, man.
It was nice to meet you as well, bro. It
All
was.
right, man. I'll see y'all later.
Bye
Later.
bye.
All right, bye.
I don't know how to end it.
And